Hi, everyone. It's Bari. Welcome, welcome. Happy to see you on this beautiful Wednesday. So, for those of you who don't know me, while we're waiting for people to join, I do this every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern. And I am the founder and creator of the Meet to Marry method. And what I do, and I've been doing for about nearly 15 years, is I help singles to break through patterns of being stuck in love and meeting the wrong people and really feeling like it's outside of themselves to have an inner transformation so that you could find your true soulmate. Because really, at the end of the day, it is a learnable skill. So while we're getting started and waiting for people to join, what's going on for everyone? Yeah, type in the chat where you're and even what your dream is for love. Right? We all have dreams. We all really crave connection. And so let me just see who's here while as we're getting started. Okay. All right. So last week, we talked about the pain and fear around getting back into dating after divorce. Like, how do we get past real hurts? And today, I want to share a story. We're going to talk about a different topic, which is another myth, because we're going to bust through myths. That's what we do. Is after you've broken up, does it make sense to take a break from dating? Like, does taking a break from dating, does it make it easier when you try again? So I want to tell you a story. This is Melanie, and Melanie lives in South Florida, and this is her husband, Eric. But when I first met Melanie, she's a lawyer. She's really smart. And she was at 50, she was never married, and she really wanted to be married. She wanted to find the love of her life, but really she was unsuccessful. And she kept taking breaks. She would meet someone wrong, take a long break, get back on the horse, try again, take another break. And then she was just in this cycle of taking breaks and going back and taking breaks, going back. And she realized that taking those breaks really didn't change anything. Truth is, she was just getting older, and she did not want to miss out on having love. She had a great life, a great career. She has a great dog, and like a really good life. And I'm sure most of you feel that way. Who here feels like I have a great life, and it would be so nice to have someone to share it with? So if you're feeling that way, that's how everyone, this is my wall of love behind me. That's how most people feel, is life would be better with a partner. So back to Melanie, after all these breaks and being nearly 50, she said something has to give, and she saw one of my ads, and we spoke, and she joined my program, and she realized what was wrong with taking all those breaks. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And she got married on November 8th of 2020 to her man, to her soulmate. And you see their faces, like they just have such a fun life. There's so much gratitude, and there's so much warmth and passion and connection. And, no more holidays alone, no more weekends alone. So if finding love is really important to you, then I want you to really listen up about what it is, why taking breaks is really a myth, because it really doesn't work. So what happens, what do you notice about if you look at your relationship history and you start looking at your patterns? I want you to think about how many relationships you've been in, and then what it felt like after the breakup. What it felt like. What it felt like. What did it feel like? So mostly, for most people, it feels like, oh, I just really need a break. I need a break. And so we take a break. And then on that break, we feel, right? You feel like, oh, a big sigh of relief. And most people take a break and they decide, oh, I'm going to work on myself. And what is that work? That work is usually like YouTube videos, um, yoga, massage, books, right? And mostly it's a feeling of, oh, it's such a relief to be out of that. Or it's a feeling of like, what's wrong with me? Why didn't that work out? Do you notice that? What is it that you would ask yourself? I remember for myself, I was like, well, why does this keep happening? And why do I make such bad choices in love? Right. Because I was also stuck in a pattern. And this happens definitely to making um, learning how to make better choices to understand why we do that. So on that break, most people discover what they don't want, right? Do you realize that? Like most people say to me, oh my God, I don't want this. And I don't want anyone emotionally unavailable. And I don't want someone like this. And then if I see one little sign of this or that, then I'm out of there. So, like, what happens? So you take a break and you know what you don't want, and then you start to get back into dating. But how long is that break that you take? Is it 6 months? Is it a year? Is it 5 years? Is it 30 years? And many people take breaks for decades. Here's another example. This is Polina. Polina is beautiful and super smart and super creative. And she too, she took breaks from dating time and time again. And she didn't truly believe she could have the kind of man that she wanted. So she took a break. She even took 3 years to start to work with me. 3 years. And so on these breaks, again, you could become like a red flag expert. Don't want the red flags. And you know what you don't want. You know what you don't want. And then what happens with most people is time goes by, and some of the people on my wall, they took like a 30-year break, like a 30-year break. One of my clients, Anna, she found herself at 60 and she had children and grandchildren, and she's a dynamo in business and her life and her community. But she too, she started to realize, I don't want to be alone. I have so much to offer. Why am I alone? I've taken this long, long break to raise children, to focus on community and career, but where am I now? Am I any smarter or wiser or more effective about knowing how to find my soulmate? And the answer that everyone comes up with is no, I'm not any wiser. I'm not any smarter, right? I just know what I don't want. But the question is, how do you know what you do want beyond this kind of, I want just a nice guy? That's what people say to me. I just want a nice guy. I just want someone. And then as time goes on, like, am I asking for too much? And the true answer is that no, it's not about you're asking for too much. It's that you're not clear. You're not clear. And then as time goes by, we start to say, oh my God, my life is good. And these breaks really protect us. It feels like it's protecting us from getting hurt again, but it's just really like a relief from, I don't know how to find a healthy soulmate. And it's so confusing out there. And then we start to feel like what I want doesn't exist. Can you relate? Maybe you start to say, I'm too picky. maybe you start to say, I'm not as young as I was. All the good ones are taken. I've heard it all. But here's the thing. None of those things are rooted in reality. Why? Because your healthy, amazing, inspiring soulmate is in fact waiting for you. Your person is totally waiting for you. And how do I know that? Because human beings are born for love. And when we get hurt enough times, even going back to childhood, then we put up these walls and these blocks and we repel love and we go out there totally unprepared. Can you imagine if you took a job as a translator and you didn't speak that language? It's the same thing. We go online, we throw up a profile that we think is like impressive or cool or and because we're not really clear and we know what we don't want and we don't know exactly what we do want and need beyond a checklist, then we get stuck. So the question is, does taking breaks from dating lead you closer to your person? And the answer is no. It absolutely does not lead you closer to the one. It gives you relief from bad dating. It gives you other things and more time to focus on other things like reading books. And, people tend to go to therapy or they are analyzing the past. And then what do? We study what we don't want, which is the wrong thing. We study a narcissistic personality disorder. Who has done that? Who has studied? Because people say, oh my God, I didn't even know that exists. So we kind of become an expert at that so that we don't attract that again. But ladies, you're kind of barking up the wrong tree because, and there are men in this group too, guys, you're barking up the wrong tree. You're studying the wrong thing. Can you see that? So we don't want to study the wrong thing. We want to not take breaks because again, okay, you want to mourn and grieve, but most people are not really doing that. They're just, distancing themselves. So instead of taking breaks and saying, I'm fine, I talk to people all the time who aren't exactly ready. And what do they say? They get on the phone in a stepping into healthy love session and they're not always willing to admit that they really do want love. So they say, I'm okay. My life is great. And I talk to them about the buts. I ask them, what's it like for you? What's the hardest part of not having a healthy, yummy partner to share your life with? And after all of well, I'm fine. I don't really need it. I have a lot of good friends, but I say, then what are we on the phone for? Like, what are we talking about? It's like you want to get your hair done, but you sit outside in the car. You don't go into the salon. You know what I mean? Right. And we do that out of fear, right? And we don't want to look bad. We don't want to look like vulnerable but the truth is that they say they're lonely. They're lonely. Who can admit like that you're lonely, that you really do want to find a partner? That would be so nice to have someone to cuddle up with, to plan your life with, to have someone that has your back, someone that shares your values, your goals, your vision. Personally, I'm married now 19 years, and my husband and I was a real codependent love junkie in the past. I dated all the wrong people. That's why I understand what you guys go through. I know what it feels like. I know the shame. I know the pretending. I pretended it was all fine, but I just kept meeting the next wrong person. And today I'm married all these years in a conscious relationship. Who wants a conscious relationship? Right? I'll do another live about what is a conscious relationship, but just for now, it's one where you're both on the same page on every level. Not like, oh, he's nice, he's kind, he makes a lot of money, he shares my religion, like it goes so much deeper than that. And that's why healthy love is really about congruence. It's not about, I don't need it, or dodging red flags, or pretending I'm on a long break. So I want to share with you now what the steps are instead of taking long breaks. Because the truth is, when you take breaks from dating, you know what happens? You're just losing time that you could be spending with your beloved, right? In a growing, conscious, healthy relationship. That's really the truth. And we don't want to waste time, right? Because time is precious. We can see what's going on in the world, the violence. We stand with Israel, and we pray that this evil will stop of innocent people. That, so we all need to raise our vibrations and live in tolerance and all that. So the first thing is we want to, instead of taking breaks, is one, admit that I do want love. I do want a partner. I do want someone to share my life with. I want that, right? That's the first thing, which, believe it or not, is the hardest thing for a lot of people because they don't want to look vulnerable. They don't want to be vulnerable. But the truth is vulnerability is not what most people think, where it's scary. Vulnerability is actually a wholeness within ourselves. Okay. And we'll continue talking about that. I do a lot of training about healthy vulnerability. Then we want to really give up, as part of our admitting and getting into vulnerability, is this fear of success, or this constant, the ball is going to drop. So I don't want to get into another relationship, right? Because that's, again, this self-fulfilling prophecy. And then we put up these walls. And then when you are done with your break, you're no better off than you were before. Another thing, another very important part of what needs to happen instead of taking breaks is to start to learn how to receive love. Believe it or not, most of us don't know how to receive love. And that's why many of us are people pleasers, codependent, because we learned growing up that we need to perform in order to earn love. We have to earn love. Love doesn't just flow to us. And that is old conditioning that we need to learn and embody how to change. Another piece of this is, instead of operating from past conditioning where you had to learn how to receive, is to really learn how to become future focused, right? Because most of us are just reliving the past. My exes, my incompletions, my father, my mother, all this stuff. So we want to learn how to stop doing that and instead get future focused and discover, well, what do I need? What do I really need? What does it really look like beyond the superficial, right? Beyond, oh, tall and nice and just a good guy. Like, that's not going to do it. So next, you want to learn, as part of all this, getting vulnerable, getting future focuses, we want to learn how to take down our walls of protection. Who notices that you have walls up, right? Walls of, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to be there again. I don't want to lose more time. I'm fine alone. Maybe it's not in the cards for me this lifetime. So again, it is in the cards for you this lifetime. And we want to not analyze the walls. We don't want to analyze the past. How many of you try to solve your love challenges with therapy? Like that's the first place we go. But the problem with therapy is that you're analyzing the past, which in my experience doesn't create a future. You know, most of us go to therapy for a very long time. It's kind of open-ended. Even EMDR is not a plan to open yourself up and learn how to bring in a healthy soulmate. We just don't learn it. You can ask your therapist. I know I asked mine and she said, I don't know, that's not my skill set. Thunk. So that is a very big part of it. And the last part is, now that we cleared the past, declared that we're ready, learned how to believe, got future focus, all these great things, then we learn how to bring in that person, right? Because we've become ready. You know, my motto is be the one to find the one, and we become ready now to find that person. Isn't that nifty? Isn't that cool? That there is a structure and a plan to invite in only the right people, so that you don't have to take long breaks and study narcissism and all these things and do things that are like not aligned with bringing in love. Isn't that amazing? Right? Imagine clearing all these things in like a few weeks, right? Not years, but weeks, a month, right? Transformation. And then like literally online, offline, introductions. Anyway, now you know how to bring in your person because you have language and you have skills and you're ready, and you're not saying, I don't need love. I don't want it. I don't want to get hurt again. Right. So it's a whole different thing. It's all about success. So who's excited about it? Who's excited about not taking endless breaks? Someone said to me yesterday, oh, it's the holidays again, and I'm going to be alone. And, you know, she made the decision not to be alone anymore. She said, oh, in spring, it's easier. But it's the same thing. You know, this is just what we tell ourselves. So I want you to know that I look for women that are professional, that are badass, that enjoy a plan to make things happen, to have a sweet partner. What would it mean to you to have a partner who loves you the way you are, that you feel so loved by, right? Like a totally different realm. And that person, again, is waiting for you. So I know that I've given you a lot of information in our time together, and, you know, you could take it and, you know, try and do it yourself. But the thing is, if you want to compress time and really make this happen in weeks, right? Find your love within 90 days, not, you know, not years. Then, you know, I invite you to check it out, to have a conversation with me for 20 minutes, stepping into love strategy session. And, you know, we'll look at what's blocking you, what really needs to happen, you know, and if it makes sense, we'll work together. It's fine either way. So, I think my team is here. Can't really see. I think Christine is here. We're going to drop the link if you want to do a 20-minute strategy session. It's meettomary.com/step into love. Or you could watch a training on this called meettomary.com/real love, you know, my webinar. So great. So if you're excited, let's make it happen. Love is waiting for you. The holidays are coming. Don't waste time taking breaks, just avoiding. Let's get into it. Let's make love happen for you. So again, I'm Bari Lyman. I go live every Wednesday. If you have questions, please DM them. If you have friends that are single and want to get out of the just analyzing mode and denying that you want love, then invite them to this group, and they could be part of it. All right, guys. So I will see you next week at the same time. And if you're watching the replay, again, reach out, share your questions, and let's make love happen for you. You deserve it. Bye, guys.